Mr. Gutierrez. Now, our next question is coming from Brian Terlahi. Hi, Brian. Good evening.
Buenas simanyay na ho, minago po po yung itoruhanzo. Wapabay faisulun question. With billions of dollars to be spent during the military buildup over the next several years, you can be sure the military will be expanding healthcare resources for the military personnel that will be stationed here. What do you plan on doing to make sure that we, the civilians, Imantau-Tau-Tono, is equally expanded? Sana Mosi.
Thank you, Brian. Ladies and gentlemen, the Compact of Free Association of the United States, we are treating, I don't know how many thousands of our freely associated state citizens here because they can come in and work here and go to school here. But in the Compact of Free Association, the section that says they are all authorized to go to the Naval Hospital and be treated there. But every year, they don't treat them because they said that it wasn't budgeted. Well, this is what I'm saying to you, that to relieve Guam with that responsibility by networking in the federal government to get them to own up to their responsibility and make that appropriation from the Department of Defense and give it to Naval Hospital. They are expanding $400 and some million hospital. Certainly they can take more of our freely associated state citizens. Or if they want, they should reimburse us if they want us to expand our hospital here, because we need several hundred millions of dollars to take care of not only our people here now, but the organic growth in the next 10, 15 years, and then you have more people coming in, maybe 40,000 over the next 4 years. We need additional dollars, and someone needs to go to Washington where the dollars are and work with the president, work with the Defense Department, work with the State Department, Congress, and get it done. Bring it back. Bring the sources back here.
Again, when the initial decision was made years earlier that there would be this military buildup, many of the discussions of the military first and foremost was that the billions of dollars would be invested within the gate. And that is why I went to Washington, D.C. about a year and a half ago with Speaker Juan Pat, B.J. Cruz, and Roy Respicio. It was bipartisan. And we requested that they put their money where their mouth is, and they made improvements not only inside the gate but outside the gate. To this point, we've gotten that commitment that nearly $1 billion will be spent for the power, water, wastewater distribution. This is not enough. We have to focus on the issues on healthcare. I will be working with Delegate Berdalio, I'm a very good friend of Delegate Berdalio. We work very well together. But we will be working collaboratively to push the federal government to invest hard money, hard, good money for our local health institutions, such as the hospital. The good news is there have been guarantees put forward by the federal government that the construction workers that will be coming in will have access. They are responsible, the companies, for their health care. But we got to make sure that that money is invested in the hospital. We did certain things when I was senator. There was a pay raise for the nurses. Quite coincidentally, that was my bill that got those nurses their pay increase. We'll continue moving in that direction.
Just a minor correction. This had nothing to do with the bill. It was an executive order that I gave that increased on a daily basis. 40% to the nurses that are labor and everything. That has nothing to do with a bill. There was no bill, sir. I just want you to know that when he says something like that, there was no bill required. It was by executive order of the governor of Guam.
My opponent once mentioned that you look in a rearview mirror and sometimes you get a distorted image. And I tell you, it's distorted because it was a Republican budget that we mandated a pay increase for the nurses. And I want to thank my late mentor, Tony Impinco. because when my opponent went on a trip off-island, and he went on a lot of trips, because about $1 million was spent on off-island trips, he rescinded through executive order, that gag order by my opponent. I mean, not the gag order, that's another executive order. The freeze on hiring. Thank you, Tonio and Pinko, for hiring the nurses to the hospital that we drastically needed in the island's most desperate time.
All right, and you know what?
No.
Mr. Gutierrez? Mr. Gutierrez?
That was a political ploy to write an executive order for one day.
Mr.
There was no
Gutierrez?
money to hire nurses. It was just a political ploy to write an executive order because he could, saying nurses can be hired.
Mr.
He didn't hire
Gutierrez,
no nurses.
we're moving on to the next question. Thank you for that question, Brian.